120. And
Wow.
Today we actually have a special guest today, Sam Coleman from EXP here in Ruth's office, actually working with Aaron Taylor. And he's going to share with us, kind of what he's done during this period of time here to work remotely and use social media to still do his job and he held 3 simultaneous open houses this week using Zoom. And we're going to talk about how he's doing that and what he's done over the past 12 months to utilize social media and, what he's done from a tactic standpoint to stay active in this market. So before we get to him, he's going to come on here shortly. But before we get to him, Ruth, what is happening in Las Vegas?
I'm going to put him on. See how you doing? Hi, Sam.
Hi.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, everything is perfect.
Beautiful.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah,
fantastic.
of course, we always have technical issues when we're doing new stuff. So anyway, good morning, Karen. Good morning, Cammie. Good morning, Mary Ellen. Good morning, Aaron. Good morning, Miss Cookie. We've got lots of people here for you today, especially Sam Coleman. So I'm going to get started real quickly and give everybody the stats. I'm going to, let's see how this will work. There we go. So as of today, we have 1,102 available condos. We have 6,442 available single family homes. We have 703 townhomes, 8,247 listings available. And at that rate that we're going, we should have 10,000 in about 60 days. And 10,000 is not a bad number, and it makes it a buyer's market, which is going to be great. So hopefully when the pandemic's over, we can we'll have more houses to sell. And yesterday, we actually listed 12 condos, 113 homes, and 108 townhomes, and that's 133 listings yesterday. So if you span that out over the next 2 months with closings that we're currently doing. So 9 condos closed, 74 single families closed, and 6 townhomes closed. And that's 89 closings yesterday. So between the closings and the just listed, that's about 50 some homes. So it'll take a couple months to get up to that at that run rate, to get up to 10,000 available homes. But the good news is that month to date, we've sold 1,345 homes at an average price of $326,000.
Wow.
Now that's average, not median. Little different.
Right.
And last year, month to date, we had sold 2,005 for a price of $320,000. Now here's the best news: our prices are not going down. They may be going down just a little bit, but they're not going down. And so that is tremendous news for the sellers, the real estate agents, and the buyers, because they're not going up either. They're just kind of hanging in there, that's a good price point. And the other interesting stat that I work on is the year-to-date closings were 10,967 at an average of 334,000. And last year was 10,247,000 at an average rate of price of 319,000. So we're already this year still ahead of last year. So that means agents are still getting paid. And then what I know you all know is the iBuyer platforms are fading away. And the biggest one, Open Door, this week just laid off 35% of their workforce. So now they're only 35. Now they're only partially open. Right. So, anyway, I'm just jazzed about the time that we have to, instead of becoming outraged, everybody needs to be becoming engaged with their business. And that's why we have Sam Coleman here today, because he has become engaged extraordinaire. And everybody is just, can't wait to hear what you've been doing, Sam. And hoops to homes. Here you go.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Sam. Yeah, you're semi-famous on this show already, because we've mentioned your name probably about like 7-8 times over the last 2 years. So, Ruth's been telling me that you've been really going out full force and doing a lot of work and really just taking everything that you're learning from Aaron Taylor and the team and just your mentors and just going at it and doing open houses and stuff like that. So give us a little background though. I'm always interested in hearing how long you've been in real estate, what got you into real estate, and then, we'll start there and I'll continue to ask you questions about what you're doing right now.
All right. Well, I got into real estate November of 2016. Not long at all, not long
Yeah.
ago at all. I played professional basketball before, and I got to a point where, I had to make a decision between continuously pursuing the dream of getting back to the
Hmm.
NBA or, would I continue to, travel abroad? And I just had gotten, proposed to my wife, and she kind of said, "Hey, do you want to be a rock star traveling the world, or do you want to have a family?" And I kind of chose the family route. I did choose the family
Yeah,
route.
wait a minute.
Obviously, obviously, but I made the decision to get into real estate because her grandmother was actually in real estate, and one summer I had just come back from, I believe, uh, Israel. I had just come back from Israel playing, and I was kind of down. And her grandmother asked me to help her set up for our open house, and it was a $950,000 listing. And
Oh,
like
wow.
every new agent, um, she she told me how much she was going to make, and like every new agent, I said, "Well, I want to do that."
Right.
I figured
Yeah.
out 3% of 950,000. I said, "Where do I sign up?"
Yeah.
So yeah, so after that, I went and took the test and got my license, and here I am.
Yeah, absolutely. The people don't realize you can make MBA money in real estate if you get it to the
Man,
top, man.
yeah, I like my life a lot better now.
Well,
That's
cool.
good. That's
Yeah,
good.
for
So,
sure.
you got with your grandmother. Then, how did you come into the business? Like after that experience, then what steps did you take to get to finding where you are right now?
So when I first got my license, it took me a long time to get my license. So I once I first got my license, I went to Keller Williams. I didn't really have any guidance. She didn't really. Once I started to pursue getting my license, I realized she wasn't really active. She still had a full-time job. She
Mm,
really did it part-time and for friends and family and people in her community. So that was the extent of her practice. So she didn't really help me get started. So I went to Keller Williams, was there for a couple weeks, and it wasn't a good fit. And I took a listing 10 days after getting my license, and I had no idea what to do. And I and I saw an advertisement for Love Local Real Estate, and I went to Love Local, and Joe and Taylor, great guys, they helped me there get my listing active. I sold it in 30 days, and
fantastic.
then my next that I started. They told me to start working my sphere. I started working my sphere, sold another home the next month, and then
Wow.
I was going cold calling, door knocking, open houses, and I realized cold calling sucks, door knocking sucks. Um, but I did enjoy open houses. So I had no business. So I started going to all the new home developments around the valley, and I would talk to anybody that would talk to me. And it was
Mm,
pretty much all the tenured older women that have been with the builder and they were bored. So they did not mind giving me any type of advice. So I would talk to them, and they would give me advice on what they did to be successful and how and the things that they did not like about other agents that brought clients in and the
mm,
inexperience of agents. And I kind of took that and said, well, I'll just do the opposite of that. And then
right.
I came across a nice young lady, Lorraine, who is now in mortgages, but she was a sales agent for Toll Brothers, and they had a standard inventory home that they could not give away. And she told me to do open houses on it. They got me some cheese and grapes and told me to go sit up there. I had no idea what I was doing. The house was listed at 999,000, and I had been in the business for 3 months.
Yep.
And I'm sitting in $1 million listing, and I will never forget. JC Melvin told me the agent with the most friends win. And no matter if you sell a $200,000 home or $1 million home, the paperwork is still the same. It's just numbers
Hmm.
on a piece of paper.
Right.
And then I never forget that. So I went and I did that open house, and I would set up my 35 signs. And it was the middle of summer now when I'm doing this. So um, it was a very intense, but I ended up getting a buyer to come to that house. I sold them the house, got them a great deal on it, and then I actually just listed that house for 1.5 last week.
Bam.
Yep.
I can tell you right now, your story. I mean, coming out 15 days, getting a listing, that is not normal. Ruth can attest to that, right?
Yes.
Because the difference, what I'm hearing here is like, I mean, one of the things you probably don't know this, but like when you suspend your disbelief, right, and just go do what people tell you to do, it sounds like that's what the attitude and the mindset that you took to this business, and like,
Yeah,
and then just stuff that starts happening, right? And that's the
absolutely,
miracle of just listening to how other successful people have done it. So fantastic, man.
absolutely.
So when did you? So you sold that first open, that big house, right, with
Yep.
an open house, and then tell me a little bit about how you progressed your business, from that point on. So this is still 2016, right, or are we into
Now we're in
2017 yet?
2017. We're in
Okay.
2017 now. So after I that actually when I got that listing, so I got my license November 30th. So I took that listing mid-December and I
Hmm.
sold it in January. Then I sold my buddy Ray a home in February, and then I started doing that open house right away in February, and then I think they closed in April or May
Hmm.
on the big house, and because we just hit their anniversary, and I give them a gift every
Yeah, yeah.
um, you know what I mean,
Every year,
CMA,
right? Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Um, so after I did that, I kind of my first house was 205,000. That was my first home that I
Hmm.
sold. But then now my third home was now $1 million home.
Right.
And so obviously I said, well, I'm going to keep doing that. So I went back
Right.
to them and said, what other quick delivery homes do you have?
Right.
And they gave me another home, and then I just kind of stayed with Toll Brothers, and I did it Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, every single week, faithfully. And what I started to do was meet the neighbors in the community.
Hmm.
And then I started to see those neighbors at the grocery store. Then I started
Yeah,
to see
yeah.
them at the park. And then they started to say, well, what do you think my house is worth? And then, we love our house. And they wanted to tell me how awesome their house was and how they love the community, and anybody that I felt was a strong prospect that they would love to tell them how awesome the community was. So then I started building a relationship with the neighbors.
Mm.
And then people started to see, oh, you were John and Linda's realtor. And I became John and Linda's realtor in the community.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
and then I ended up not selling the quick delivery home that I was in. So I went to other builders. Nobody else would really let me do open houses because it wasn't a thing for them. Um, so I said, what do I do? So Joe and Taylor, they said, well, we have listings, but they weren't at Summerlin. So I'm like, I want to stay in the same area. So I was unconsciously creating my own farm.
Hmm.
But it was home, and that's where I wanted to stay. So I got in the MLS. They told me to go into MLS and find homes that are in the area and call the listing agents and see if you can do an open house. So I started calling them all, and then I came across this woman, Maureen Kelly, and she had her personal home listed that was vacant, and the builder, they were still selling homes in there, but they had an agent doing their open houses for them that used to work for the builder. So he
Mm.
was now a residential agent that had still had the relationship. So he and I would be competing in the same community, but I kind of took it as like he's on my home court. He's trying to
Right,
score my basket.
right, right, right.
So one weekend, no exaggeration, I sold the home. I sold her home. I found a buyer for her home. I listed a home that the buyer that came and put an offer on her home. I listed her home 2 communities down in Cielo, and then I sold that in 2 weeks. And then a buyer that came to the open house of their home bought the model home across the street from the one from the real estate agent. Her house that I was listing, I sold the one across the street as well. So
Mm.
that one, hers was listed at 775. I sold it, and then I sold the model across the street for 750, and then I sold the
Wow.
buyer's home 2 doors down for 640. And
Wow.
one weekend, I got
One weekend.
1 weekend of open houses.
Right. Yeah. If everybody's listening here,
Right.
open houses is not dead. Right.
No.
I laugh when people say open
Right.
houses don't work. I just laugh.
Yeah. They just don't know how to work it. And obviously, so what are you doing in these open houses, right? That you think is allowing you to attract these people to come into your life here?
It's more so it's my mindset. So again, unconsciously, I believe, just like when I play basketball, I never seen the shot that I did not think I was going to make.
Mm.
So every time a person comes through the open house, they're my client. every time a person comes to my open house, they're going to use me. They need to use me because of the value that I provide. I'm doing myself a disservice, and I teach the agents on my team this. We're doing the city of Las Vegas a disservice by not knowing our stuff.
Yep.
And every time I see an agent, and this is my personal thing. Every time I see a home come on the market and 89135 or 89138 and it doesn't have my name on it, or it's not another agent that I can say, I'm like, okay, all right, I can see that. I get angry.
Right. Right.
They have terrible pictures.
Oh,
The words are misspelled. The directions are wrong. Um, and I'm like, now they need my services because I'm going to make sure all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. I'm going to make sure that I provide them the most value. I know the streets by looking at the streets in the MLS because I've walked every single home in my farms. I know
Mm.
every single floor plan, and that's the value that I provide to my
right,
clients by knowing my stuff. Right, I know my market cold,
right.
and that's the when people come into my open house, I take it very, very seriously when they ask me specific questions that I can give them the answer, and I know for a fact that that's what the answer is. And if I don't know it, I get frustrated with myself, like Sam, how don't you know that? Right?
Yeah.
Because I'm supposed to know these things, and how can I accurately serve them and expect to get a $30,000 commission check? What do you expect a person to receive a $30,000 commission check? What do you expect them to know? I need to know those things. So from the very beginning, I kind of set that expectation for myself. And every time somebody comes into my open house, I have the answers. They have questions. They have a problem. I have the solution.
Fantastic, man. Fantastic. See, you're talking like a true professional, man. In your business, right? You know what I'm saying? I can tell you like that type of mindset, and probably part of your athletic background,
One hundred
helps you
percent.
helps you develop that because in the game of basketball, it's very fundamental, but the
Yes,
details are what makes a person, an average ball player and a great ball player, and it's like these little nuances, and those little nuances separate, someone making 500 grand to $27 million a year. So
absolutely, absolutely.
fantastic, man. So okay, so let's talk. Bring it to present day here, and let's talk about what you're doing during this period of time when we're having, obviously people having to stay home and not being able to show up physically to these open houses. What are you doing now?
So two things, and I know that, and I'm not afraid to share anything that I'm doing, whether it works or not, because I know 99% of people won't do
Right.
it.
Won't do it. Won't do it.
well,
Right. Right.
the first thing we ran just a quick test on a Zoom open house because I know just through social media and everything how trends can actually boost awareness in certain things. So
Mhm.
I hopped on a Zoom trend, and while it's not as practical as you go through it, but I think it's going to be something that buyers and sellers will expect in the future to be able to have, whether it's listing appointments, updates on the market, video. Video is going to be something that's mandatory, just like the Matterport and the 3D tours, like that.
Yeah.
Those are things that I used to do before that now it's almost going to be mandatory. So I have clients that I have listings that have come off the market, and I have some that are still on that I have already done the 3D tour for,
Mhm.
and they want me to market those. So if you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, I've posted one, and I have them for all my listings. I've never really kind of marketed them. It was kind of one of those things that I added as value before, but it's almost like it's mandatory. So the 3D tour to be able to run an ad or just post it, letting people know that they can virtually walk through the home from home. Then
Mhm.
the next thing, again, the Zoom. So I did a Zoom open house with my two agents. So three of us, we set up in three different homes, and just like this, we just turn the camera around and give people a walkthrough. And just selecting vacant homes was super difficult. Trying to find vacant homes and have vacant homes with good reception, that the video would be
Right. With
clear.
exactly with Wi-Fi already
Yes.
established. Right.
Yeah, so that was a little challenging, but we did it. And now we're going to do another one next week, and it's going to be another 3D, another Zoom call where we pick three more vacant homes, and we basically walk through the homes, give people a tour, and at the end do a Q&A and let people figure out guess the price, and then if they guess the price, they can win a gift card. The
Mm.
first one was just a trial and error type deal, trying to figure out, get our bearings in order, and see what worked, what didn't work. And we have a long list of things that what should you do and what shouldn't you do. Ladies wearing heels, me with my dress shoes, the clicking is distracting in the background. You
Right,
know,
right, right.
is it too shaky? How did we go through too fast? Is 10 minutes really enough to get through 3 homes? When should the Q&A? Do you mute everybody? All those different things. We just did it 5 times and figured out, and we still didn't get it all. So the next one definitely will be next week, and we'll do that. We had a little bit of engagement on that one, and then I'm actually doing open houses through Zoom next week when I get these signs completed. So I'm going to have open house signs that says virtual open house, and they will be on the street, lead up to the house, and on the door it'll say you can't walk in, but you can join the Zoom, and then it'll have a Zoom link there, and then appointment only showings.
Mm.
And yeah, so I'll give people the opportunity to set up a one-on-one appointment, even if that one-on-one appointment is 30 minutes from now. I'm abiding by the law, and they say at one-on-one showings on vacant homes. Just because they arrived to a virtual open house, they didn't come in. We set an appointment. I'm at there at 1. I'll set an appointment with that person that came to the door at 1:30 or 2
Right.
o'clock. If it's one-on-one, it's one-on-one. It's a vacant home. So I'm not doing a traditional open house. The open house will be on Zoom. So after the open house, then I can handle one-on-one appointments.
Are you providing gloves and masks?
Mask, yes.
Mhm.
Yep.
Fantastic.
So you're doing so nobody can really turn you in because there's a lot of agents that are looking to turn other agents in, especially if they're
Absolutely.
outperforming them.
Absolutely. And I've already had, I've already had my share of agents that complain about me, just like, but that makes me know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, because not
Right.
enough people know what you're doing. You're not doing enough of it. So
Exactly. If you have no haters, then nobody knows about you. So,
Right.
absolutely.
good work on that.
Yeah.
Well, Sam is definitely becoming an influencer and outstanding in your field for sure.
Thank you.
Um, Sam, lots of these things are with the Zoom and with like this platform, Be Live, and there's several other ones out there. There's that fear of blowing up Tokyo, and you can't blow up Tokyo with this stuff. Everybody has the same fears, and everybody has to cross that line and
Mm.
just do it, just like you're
Yep.
doing it. And I just applaud you for all of your gumption and your persistence and your motivation and your inspiration to all the agents listening today and watching us. I mean, you're just doing what you should be doing. And I know it's tough. Like you said, the heels clicking and these little things, and you're working through it.
Right,
I
Yeah.
right.
mean,
And learning from it. That's
Yep.
the key in adjusting.
Hmm.
it's like going to the gym. You don't end up with muscles the first day.
No, no,
No.
no.
And it's hard. And it takes mental toughness, and you've got it. And I know your athletic background lends a little bit to that, and we all don't have that, but I know I don't. I'm not an athlete. I'm a golfer, but I'm not an athlete. But I know this stuff is scary,
Yeah.
but I don't care. I'm going to get to that goal line one way or the other, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's your mentality. I can feel
Absolutely.
it.
I don't have another choice because I have a wife and babies to take care of.
There you go, man.
But also, just a quick thing. I was never really good at basketball. So all I had was my work ethic. So I showed up early and I left late. I asked questions. Yes, coach, no coach. That's how I got my professional opportunity. It wasn't because I was the most skilled. I didn't go to a big school or any of that stuff. So while having a background in athletics was, it does play a part, but I had to create my own discipline because that's all I
Yeah.
had. So if you life is a sport. So if
Yeah.
whether you play basketball or not, you're in a sport, and we're
Right.
all in a sport,
We're
right?
all competing in a game of
Yeah,
some
in
sort.
the game
There's
of some
rules.
sort. Yeah,
Yeah, there's rules
everybody's
there.
scoreboard looks different, but yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, how much social media are you utilizing right now, and when did you kind of start doing that to work with your real estate?
Now, everybody, I know that there are going to be a bunch of people that I I am a millennial, but I think I may have spent the most that I've spent on social media may have been about $4,000 in
Hmm.
2017. I ran ads on Facebook and Instagram, and I kind of said, you know what, this thing, it works. I spent $3,000 in 1 month, and I sold a home. I sold a brand new home,
Hmm.
and that was a $10,000 commission. So obviously it worked, right?
Right, right, right.
I started to do what Tom Ferry said, find out where most of your business comes from, and then you double down on that.
Yep.
So I had only sold one home from Facebook. It actually came from Instagram, and I said, you know what? I don't feel the need to do this. So I'm just going to keep
Mm.
posting my content for free on these platforms, but
Yeah.
then I'm just going to knock more doors and do more open houses. But I kept my social media up just by posting things. But now I have campaigns for TV and for social media going live next week now. So I'm going to definitely double down on my YouTube ads,
Hmm.
Facebook and Instagram ads, and a TV ad that'll go live as well.
Oh,
What TV
fantastic.
channel are you going to be on?
So I'm waiting for the package to get the package to find out what channels those are going to be on. I'm actually going to record the content tomorrow, so it's going to be a 30-second spot. So we'll see. Hopefully, I don't. It's not in the middle of the night when everybody's sleeping.
Have you thought about running these ads on YouTube at
Yes,
all?
yes. So, yep. So I've run a couple on YouTube. I have a listing that I did a super cool video for that I'm going to spend some ad spend on YouTube. Um, but yeah, it's grossly underpriced compared to
Grossly underpriced, right? I mean,
yeah,
It
I'm
is
like
amazing.
I'm actually starting to see more. Like, there's this one lady, I forgot her name, but I'm seeing her more and more on my feed as a sponsored YouTube, ad on my
yep,
feed, and she's doing communities here in Las Vegas. I'm like, okay, someone's onto this right now.
Right.
yep,
I'm just wondering if how much traction. Maybe I'll track her down and try to get her on the show to see if she's open to sharing some results here.
yep. So my YouTube, if you go just type in hoops to homes, you'll find the page, and I've already started to transition into like the icon. My YouTube icon is right
Mm,
next to my Instagram. It's right next to LinkedIn. So I'm going. It's one of those things like while everybody's running to TikTok, it's early. It's so early for TikTok. YouTube is where the second largest search engine in the world.
Right.
mm,
So
yeah,
Yeah.
when everybody zig, I'm trying to zag. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So were you in the were you playing in the G League, or how which basketball basketball, how were you associated with professional basketball?
So in 2010, I had my opportunity with the Houston Rockets. I wasn't drafted. I went to a training camp that I wasn't even invited to, and I basically just walked in, and the janitor
Yeah,
that was cleaning the floor for the players thought I was a player because obviously I was 6'10" and I
yeah,
looked like an athlete, so he let
right.
me in. And I, long story short, I worked out. I got an opportunity to work out in front of 10 or 15 scouts. The GM from the Lakers, the scouts from the Rockets, the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Sixers, all these guys that were there, they did take a liking to me, and I impressed BJ from the head scout from the Rockets, and he told me to fly to Houston. I flew to Houston, worked out there for John Lucas, and then the next week I was at the Toyota Center. Then, while it was also surreal, I came to Las Vegas for the NBA Summer League as for an opportunity to be an injury reserve. Tore my
Mm,
ACL, working out for
mm,
a few other teams during the interim, and then I had to go travel. The lockout happened 2011, so
yeah.
no player contact. So perfect timing. Perfect timing. Kind of like I empathize with the players now that can't do workouts because of the
Yeah.
coronavirus. So it's like you have this huge opportunity, and then now it's just taken away from you, and then life goes on. So I traveled overseas, played abroad, and then I came back after the lockout. The Rockets, they sent me right to the G League, and I played well. I shot really well from the 3-point line, but I couldn't rebound. I came back a little bit too early for my injury, so they released me. Went back to play overseas, and I had a pretty decent career overseas. And I came back 2015. I tried again. Went to the Phoenix Suns because I had John Lucas. He actually had a friend that was coaching the Reno Bighorns, and his assistant coach that I met here in Las Vegas got a assistant coaching job at with the Phoenix Suns. So
Right,
that
right.
kind of got me the opportunity there, and I got in. I impressed them really, really well, but they thought, this 26-year-old kid, like we want somebody 23, 24 with a little bit more upside, but I was 26, and I I impressed them, and they did not think that I was as good as I was at that time. I was in the best shape of my life, and they released me. The GM himself called me personally and
Mm,
told me that it was not the right time. It was basically a political thing, and to stay ready. Well, I've been told to stay ready for the last 4 years, and I was tired of staying ready, so I quit.
yeah, yeah.
They called me back 3 months later, and I hadn't touched the ball in 3 months.
Oh man.
Yes.
All right.
Yep.
Uh,
They flew me to Dallas. They flew me to Dallas on Friday. I played Saturday morning. I was back in Las Vegas on Monday. I got cut again.
Yeah.
And yep. And that roller coaster, man. I remember literally crying on my wife's shoulder, like bawling, crying. I was just like, this is just so unfair. I worked my entire life for this,
Yeah.
and I just said, you know what? It's time for something different. She said, maybe this is God saying that it's time for you to make that change. And it was I had a very inconsistent career just with injuries because I got every year after I tore my ACL, I got hurt
Mm,
every single season. Um, so I went to take the real estate exam and I failed it. My agent called me and said, "Hey, I know you're not going to like this, but I got a gig for you in Mexico at $7,000 a month." And I said, "I'll take it." At that point, I was like, "I'll take anything." So I took it, went there. During preseason, I get a severe quad contusion to where I had a knot on my quad the size of a watermelon. It
wow.
was huge. It was basically me and another player collided full force, running full speed, his knee to my thigh, and it was so swollen I could barely walk. So,
Wow.
and with a muscle contusion, you really
Yeah.
there's nothing you can do but relax.
Right.
So,
Time only.
yep. And
wow.
then they released me and didn't pay me. So,
Hey, well,
the yeah, these teams, a lot of teams are owned by the cartel. They operate in their own rules. So,
sure.
yeah, we want another American that can walk at least. So, go home.
Yeah, exactly right. You're
Yep.
not going after, you're not
Yeah.
collecting from those people,
Yep.
right? So,
So
well,
I got back to Las Vegas and I took the exam again, failed it again, and my agent called me and said, "Hey, I have another opportunity for you." I still couldn't walk, and I said, "You know what? I'm just going to do this thing." And my wife was kind of like, "Hey, we need to figure something out. You haven't had a paycheck in quite some time now, so
yeah,
you need to
right.
do this." So
Yeah,
I started driving for Uber and Lyft, and most humiliating point of my life, but I made it work, and then I just had my back against the wall, and I said, "This real estate thing has to work." I went and took the exam again, and I did not pass it. So
three times,
it took me 5 times to pass the exam.
five
So
times.
I failed
Okay.
about two questions every single time, just
Wow.
two questions. Yep.
Wow.
So yeah, and then I got it, and I said, "This has to work," because I literally have no other choice. I
Right.
don't.
Right.
I had to burn the boats. I didn't work out. I didn't play basketball. I kept
Right.
getting hurt. So real estate was it, or go
That's
sell
it,
cars,
man.
and I
Yeah.
didn't want to do that.
Hey, man. Sometimes life, universe, God, whatever you want to call it,
Yep.
says like, let's see how bad this guy wants it. Right. Let's see how bad he wants it.
Listen, we can go another 2 hours, and I can tell you
Right.
how
Right.
bad I was.
Well, and that's
Yeah.
that's what I want everybody to hear on the show is like sometimes I mean you can't be 1 foot in 1 foot out in this business to
No.
be very
No.
successful, right?
No.
It's just it's one of those businesses that when 100% commission is on the line, right? Your paycheck is determined by your own grit and effort,
Yep.
and you just can't go half pace.
No.
And it only takes like a very like this moment in time right now we're experiencing now. I mean, people like you with the mindset, I can tell you, having failed 5 times and now succeeding, that probably gives you a greater amount of determination than anybody else that didn't go through what you went through. Because now you know that you're gonna, nothing's gonna stop you at this point, right? I mean,
Yeah.
failure is no thing, and you're not
No.
afraid of it, and that's why I can hear the mindset of you just like trying different things and doing things, failing and learning from it, and then growing and moving forward. And
Hmm.
that's the type of mindset that is required to be successful in this business and really any business, but specifically in the real estate game. And
Yeah.
that's the story's phenomenal, man. You should talk more about that, and share with more people about how you overcome that. You had a great story, and the reason I asked you about the NBA was, or the G League was like, man, now you're starting to sell higher end homes. It's tapping into that sphere. I mean, that could be something phenomenal for you in the future here because everybody wants
Yeah.
a piece of property in Vegas.
Yeah. So I have a lot of friends that still do play in the NBA that still play abroad. Um, I have not. and I have not figured out how to tap into that market as of yet, because remember, I've only been in the business 3 years, and just 3 years
Hmm.
ago we were doing young basketball player things together. And now, just because I have on a suit, that memory of
Yeah, 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 yeah.
of Sam. So I've had some conversations with some NBA players, and some that I think that will turn into um,
Hmm.
good relationships in the business world pretty soon. So I'm just focusing on the mindset of continue to build a relationship, and I
Yep.
have to figure out a way to build a relationship with my old teammates and friends outside of the club. So that's the new challenge for that that market.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Get
Yeah.
more exposure, man. Get on social and demonstrate. You got to demonstrate your experience and authority in this field and your success. And once people start seeing
Yeah.
that a little bit more, they're going to forget. And time passes and just continue to build that.
Oh, absolutely.
Fantastic,
And
man. Yeah,
I send DMs every single day now. Every
yeah,
single day. Like, I don't care if they don't answer or not. I'm every player, and again, I take it personally. Every athlete should work with me because I know what it feels like. And
totally,
my
man.
motto is client before commission. I don't care how much. I don't care if they want to buy a $200,000 condo and they make $1 million a year because they need an investment, because they don't want to end up broke, right? I
Yeah,
know what it feels like to go through, to make a significant amount of money and then have nothing to show for it. So
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
fantastic.
the biggest thing you're doing, one of the biggest things, not like just only one, is consistency.
Hmm.
So you're consistently DMing people, and when they're ready to pull the trigger, they're going to think of you. And it's just that simple. Not simple to do the DMs all the time. I understand that, but it's that simple when it gets into somebody's mind that, hey, I do want to buy, a home in Las Vegas. And I don't know how you feel, Sam, but I had a question about what are your sellers saying to you right now about this pandemic era,
Mm.
like you call it, the Rona era.
The
Yeah.
Rona.
So
That's my
the
wife calls
Rona,
it too. The Rona.
the Rona. I asked a couple questions. So I did have one seller that decided to hold off until we withdrew her home, and we're going to put it back on in a few months and see what happens. And I had another that I was in contract with that the buyer wants to buy it at 10% less. So they wanted to renegotiate, and she kind of said, no,
Oh,
that's not what I want to do. So
right.
we're going to take it off again, and we'll take that one off too, and we'll revisit another 4 months. And then I have those sellers that are like, well, I asked them, do you think this is worse than 2008? Were you around in 2008, in the market? And they say, well, this is nothing like 2008. So people that
Oh,
have that understanding are saying, well, this is more like 9/11.
right.
Yeah,
This is more like a
right.
bad snowstorm where we're all trapped in a house, but when the snow melts, we can go back to business as usual. And it may take, we're in that 90-day lag where real estate will take 90 days
Mhm.
to get back going again, but it will get back going again. Are we going to
Well,
be trapped in a, yeah,
not only Sam will it get back going again, but like Brian Buffini, who is one of the greatest coaches and the most successful real estate training coaches in the industry, what he says is, and he's talked with Dr. Yoon, who is the NAR economist, and he's talked, with Ben Carson, and it seems to be consensus with Brian Buffini and all the metrics that he utilizes that we need to get ready to do 12 months of work in 9 months when this pandemic is over.
yeah,
And I really believe that. I've seen a lot of markets. I've seen how buyers and sellers and investors, they have time to think right now. They have
yeah,
time to research, and they are going to be prepared to pull the trigger right away when they can. And I truly believe that, yes, we're having a hard time now, cash flow wise and so on, but I think we're all going to make it up, in a
yep.
short amount of time. I really believe that. Do you feel that? Do you feel
I
like,
feel that. I feel
yeah,
that for sure. Yeah. And I have sellers. I have me and Aaron were actually talking last week. The people that were in contract or preparing the list prior to the Rona are more hesitant. Those are the people that are a little bit more combative or challenging. I should say the people that I'm coming in contact with now, they know what they're dealing with. That they
yeah.
either need a home or they want to transact now. They're going to transact. They just are making the adjustment to make the transaction happen based on the circumstances that we're in because they know what they're
Hmm.
dealing with. So
Yeah.
those are a lot. easier conversations to have with people going into it. And I have listed, like I just listed a home last week, the one that I was telling you about for 1.5, and that they know, it's completely fine because the house is vacant, and they know that showings are going to be fewer, and that the average days on market in a good market is 180 days. But now
So,
that is going
so,
to
so what's the address? Let's give it some advertising punch here.
85 Canterbury Coast.
And so, what about it? Or what could you say about it? Or why should
So
people have their buyers look at it?
one, for the money, while someone may say, well, 1.5 million is a lot of money. Well, for the value, they have a model match comp in that community for 1.7. That was the model home in the community. This is also the only 3,800 square foot home in this Toll Brothers community that has come on the market since the model has sold. So supply and demand, there aren't any other 3,800, close to 4,000 square foot homes, unless you go to Richmond American in the new development, Scotts Pine, and that there you're going to be 1.3, 1.4 with no pool, with no fixtures, with none of the
Right.
bells and whistles. This one is 1.479 to be exact, and it has everything. And the backyard is immaculate. If the first picture is the money shot. So if you check out 85 Canterbury Coast, Las Vegas, Nevada 89138, it won't disappoint. And the home is allowed by showings, by appointment only with me, and I can provide all the value and all the money and items that the sellers has spent into they put in the home after they purchased it. And again, $20,000 in TVs that convey with the property.
Uh,
You know,
Wow.
just
Yeah.
just they just did not disappoint in this home.
so,
Fantastic.
what community is it in, Sam?
It's Los Altos by Toll Brothers, right off of Far Hills.
Okay.
Yep.
Beautiful, beautiful. So that community is well established.
Yeah, so they
Yeah.
only have one home, standing inventory home left. They have, and there are two other resale homes that are significantly smaller, but in over just under my price point. And we're just minutes from Fox Hill Park. We've got the best
Yeah.
schools in the
Great.
valley,
Yeah.
right?
The school
Minutes from
system's
downtown
fantastic in
Summerlin.
that area.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a great piece of real estate.
Well, this what I do with our shows is I actually boost them out to the major states in the United States that are moving here to Las Vegas. So
Uh-huh.
you're going to get national exposure, and so you can tell your seller that you were on a national
Syndicated.
syndicated,
Uh,
yes, syndicated
Yes.
show 120. We've been doing this for 120 Saturdays, and you've gone to bat for them, uh, or gone to the hoop, I guess, right?
Yep.
yeah.
Gone
Yeah,
to
I
Yeah.
the hoop
have.
for
You
Yep.
them.
drove the lane for them, man.
Well, Madison mentioned it, 4030 Villa Raphael in Southern.
What about that one?
Well, Southern Highlands. This is another great property. It's listed for 1 million. It's 4,200 square feet. 4 bedroom, 5 bath. It lives like a single story, but it's a two-story home. William Lyons home. And that home is unbelievable because it's in a community where no other they can't build that floor plan anymore, and no other one is coming on the market again. So I have to think about getting
yeah.
another
Yeah.
very
Very
Save some
unique
money.
homes,
limited
Yeah.
homes. Yeah, yeah. So it's in
and that's a
Tuscan.
nice neighborhood.
Yeah, Tuscan Highlands. So
Yes.
Tuscan Highlands, right across from where a lot of celebrities live, and this home is built in 2015.
Wow.
Quick freeway access, um, and just maybe 5 7 minutes from the strip. Great location as
Mm.
well, and then good schools there. I love the coffee shops that they have right around there as well. They're really
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
And is that vacant?
Yes, that one is vacant also.
So you've got some beautiful homes to do open houses virtually.
Yes.
Yes. So,
Fantastic.
any other tips?
Yeah. Any
Any
last thoughts
other?
for you? Give us some really good nuggets, man.
Yeah.
Um, know your stuff. So, if you pick I'm really big on the whole Brian Buffini, Tom Ferry geographic farming. So I know my farm, I know people, I know, I have social proof in my farms. And if you don't have social proof, you have to figure out a way to go meet the community and know your stuff and be able to provide
Mhm.
some type of value. And when I say know everything, you have to know everything because you don't know when the things that you know may come in handy. And if
Right.
you don't know where to start, go talk to builders or any new home development in that area and say, what did Sam do when he first started? And they'll tell you.
Fantastic.
That's
Sam, yeah, awesome to have you on, man. Appreciate
Thank you.
you
I
coming
really,
on
really
Saturday.
appreciate it for sure.
Yeah, I took a lot. I mean, you remind me a lot, what it takes to succeed sometimes, man. Like you got to have your back to the wall, burn your boats. If you really want
Yeah.
it bad enough, man, you're going to get tested. I can tell
Yeah.
you, life is not just going to get handed over to you here.
No
You
way.
go, here you go, just because you want it. But 5 times real estate, wow.
Yeah.
And here you are, man. Wish you a lot of success, man. You're not going to need the luck because it looks like you're providing the luck for yourself with the opportunity and the preparation that you put
right.
in.
Yeah, it kind of runs into each other when you work hard.
I'm definitely lucky. I'm definitely lucky.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, Ruth, any last words before we end the show today?
Well, I just have to say that, Sam, you have brought a lot of people on this show, and I just want to thank them. I want to thank Sandy Thomas and Teresa, and Rosie was here today, and George O'Brien was here today, and Miss Cookie was here today. Karen, my loyal viewer, and Miss Cookie and Aaron Mills. Let's see, we had Greeley. Greeley was here. Kathy, good to see, or Kitty, good to see you. I got the answer. Kitty asked me yesterday, by the way, she's going to list a home, and she wanted to know if she can show the home to a potential buyer. And how would you answer that question if it's owner occupied?
If it's owner occupied, it would definitely have to be at the consent of both parties in writing. The seller would definitely have to leave the property. I recommend gloves, booties, and face masks for all parties entering the home. Ask the seller to open all doors and anything that needs to be touched to open it so that the potential prospect would not have to touch anything. All light switches to be on, all sliders to be open, and that if the real estate agent that if Kitty is going to be there to open any of those doors, that she opens it and provide any types of sanitary wipes to go after herself afterwards.
Right. Just be
Yeah.
safe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And there's a
quick you rattled that off, man. You do know your stuff, man.
That-
You know your stuff.
That's what I'm doing every day.
All right.
Yeah.
Right. If you're, we're working. Yes, if you don't come out of this with with potential buyers and sellers, you're not working.
Exactly
I want to
right.
say hi to Cammie. Cammie was our host yesterday. We went live with the Brian Buffini Pathway to Mastery, which we're going to start next Friday. We had an introduction yesterday on Zoom. We had 30 people in our Zoom room. It went really well, and we hope that they all sign up for Pathway to Mastery. And Brian Buffini yesterday, or actually Thursday night, announced that you can, instead of $395, it's going to be $195. So he is like trying to get everybody engaged during this time when, every Friday from noon to 2, you can participate with us. We're going to deliver it, and we're going to hold everybody accountable. It's a great program, 8 weeks, starting next Friday, noon to 2, and you just go to, let's see, I think I have where they can actually go to sign up. So let me just show everybody here. I love it when it works. Okay, there we go. You go to LasVegasAgentFormula.com/pathway-to-mastery, and you can sign up for it. It's not too late. They're going to be distributing the materials a little differently, so they are trying to get as many people as possible to take advantage of this $195 value, normally $395, and that's $30 a week for some of the best training in real estate. And you just can't beat Brian Buffini. He is just awesome. And Cammie, thank you again. What Cammie's going to do is she's contributing $100. So next week, every other week, for the 8 weeks, we're going to have a raffle. So everybody that's on the Zoom will get a chance to win $100.
Oh, wow.
So then if you win 100, now you're only paying 95
$95.
Right. So that's going to be every week. So that's going to be cool. Cammie's one of the sponsors. We have other sponsors that are going to do the same thing. And then Karen Cachero, she's a Buffini mentor. She teaches peak performance. And thank you for joining us. And my beautiful friend, Erin Pearson Mills.
Hey, Erin.
Yeah, she's been on the show a couple times, Sam, and she always draws an audience with that pretty face and that brain of hers. She's awesome. And Miss Cookie's a regular. I just want to thank everybody for making our show such a success. And we're so successful, we got Sam Coleman to participate
That's right,
today.
man. I want to meet you in
Thank
person
you.
because I'm only 5'6", man. So I'll be like,
I
Yeah.
make everybody feel that way.
fantastic. All right, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great week. Stay safe.
Yes.
Thank you.
Sam, good luck. I hope this brings you some business. I'll certainly do my best. And Max, thank you. And you all just stay safe. And as always, I love everybody and have a great week.
Have a great week,
Thank you
everybody.
as well.
Bye, everybody.
Take care.
Bye.